My name is Adam Parr, and I'm the host of the Pod City Podcast. This podcast focuses on motivation, mindset, positivity, mental health, and many other areas. In this podcast, I've connected with people from all different walks of life. You can connect with me on social media in the link below. And if you like this podcast, please like, share, and comment and subscribe because it really helps the channel and the podcast to grow. Now, without further ado, I hope you enjoy the video.
Tuning in, trying to find out how to win. Go along and tell a friend. Marathon, you know the game. Keep on running, never end. Getting better, make amend. Adam got it, Adam got it, Adam got it, Adam got it. Passivity, 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 passivity. Tune in.
It's great to have you on the podcast today. How you doing?
Hey, Adam. Nice to see you again. Nice to speak.
Yeah. No, it's great to reconnect. It's great to have you back. And I just kind of thought, we kind of start this off by talking. We've got a few topics in mind, and then we're gonna, go into like your training course that you've got going on and other things. But I just thought I'd start it off by, because we were talking before we started recording, like about perfectionism, people posting content, and people, feeling insecure in posting content and people trying to get it right, because I think when you first start out posting content, you're trying to always get it right, and it doesn't always work that way. And, in the process of doing it, we can look at other people and what they're posting, worry about how we look, worrying about how it comes across, and all of these kind of things.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a challenge, especially in the beginning when you're starting an Instagram or starting your business. I think we can both relate to that, but also for people just using it in private, it's not always easy. It has its advantages, but it really has disadvantages too, and can make you feel exposed, but also very insecure or not feeling good enough. Or just some people that I know, they completely freeze because they don't think it's good enough. But that's mainly because they're, what I say is that people are so critical about themselves, but if anybody else would do it, they wouldn't really care.
Yeah.
So that's my observation about that. What about you?
Yeah. No, I think that's true, and I think like a lot of people when they start out, it's because a lot of time goes into that. A lot of time goes into making the content, and I think sometimes along the way, you're kind of learning as you're going along. But I think we sometimes, like you said, we kind of think that we've got it all together, and this is how it's meant to look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of competition with what are people posting, but I think you have to kind of naturally kind of be yourself, don't you? I think it's a big learning process. And when your confidence, you have to build your confidence. I mean, for me, I didn't do videos straight away. I would do videos when I used to do them, and I'd delete it because I'd be like, oh well, it doesn't look good. And that critical part of my talk, that self-talk was, oh, it's not good enough. That perfectionist drive, it was horrible. But I think sometimes you come up against that, don't you? You come up against that kind of self-talk and all of those things that try and kind of slow you down. But I think if you keep on doing it, you realize it's a process, and even now you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's there's a fine line, I guess, when trying to do it in a good way, and then on the other hand, there's not really a good way. But in the beginning, it's also a little bit weird to put yourself out there, especially, for instance, in stories or now in a podcast. In the first months, you're not so used seeing and hearing yourself like that, I guess. I think that's very common for everybody. But after a while, you get used to it, and also you find ways to make it more natural. In general, yeah, the first stories and things that I did way more my best than I do now, and they look less natural. But after a while, you get it. And there are some good people to follow. I actually followed um, a Dutch lady, Celine Charlotte, and she started video blogging and doing all these things. And her Instagram is really big, but she's actually very open. She does it in Dutch, but hey, don't look in the camera like this, but just look away and like you would normally talk. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that looks way better. And in the beginning, I don't know about you, but I was just trying to pitch all the time a business account and tell people what I was doing. And as we were just saying, this morning I posted some silly things of me going to the garden center to buy a new pot because I smashed the other one that we bought yesterday, and I wanted to buy a new one for my boyfriend's house. And it's so stupid and silly, but when you post stuff like that, then people actually start to engage with you and they like you, especially if you do stuff that isn't perfect and it's just silly.
Yeah.
Actually, I am quite silly person. It's just the way I am. So, but people can think I'm like all the time really buttoned up and I'm always ready to go. While most of the
Yeah.
time, 3 times a day, I drop stuff. I demolish things. I'm known for that privately, but if I wouldn't show that at all, people would probably think I was just some kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, no, not, it's less real. And that's a lot
Yeah.
what you see is not so natural, maybe,
Mm.
and makes us feel like we have to be perfect. Well, it's way
Yeah.
funnier to see somebody do some silly stuff
Yeah.
than there's always like a perfect pitch, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
that's my own experience. But what about you? How did you get over those
Mm.
feelings, the self-talk and the criticism and
I
perfectionism?
I agree, and I think like you make mistakes, and people like to see that part of you, that
Mm-hmm.
being natural, and that it's okay to make mistakes, and that funny side of yourself. And I think I think I kind of came up against it hell of a lot starting out doing podcasting. I remember, I would start out doing audio only, so I
Mm-hmm.
started doing that, and then once I started to do like Zoom call, Zoom videos and just little clips,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of started seeing, people liking it, and I was like, okay, well, there's probably something here, that is working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I used to try very hard. I used to do a video, like I said, then delete it. Um, I would try too hard and thinking about the words, even to the point of the words I was saying and the
Oh,
words I was
really?
using.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh,
And
yeah.
I would do like a clip and I would say something and I'd be like, I delete it because I probably didn't say a word that sounds good enough, so I was
Mm-hmm.
that much of a perfectionist and just feeling, yeah, kind of coming up against myself. And I just kept on doing it, and just became, I think, more relaxed
Yeah.
through doing video podcasts. When I first started doing video podcasts, I was always kind of looking at how I came across or how did I look or what
Mm-hmm.
people are going to think about X, Y, Z. Um,
Mm-hmm.
whereas over time, I'm more carefree, if that makes sense. But I think it's just continuously doing it, isn't it?
Yes, it's just taking action, imperfect action. That's actually the key in getting through that because I wouldn't be able to do anything that I do, basically. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do anything I do within a normal working week if I would retake every video or everything I
Mm.
do because I missed one word. For instance, in my trailer of my video training that we're going to discuss later, that's going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
launching from Monday. Yes.
Awesome.
Um, I have that first video and I actually say 5 simple steps instead of steps, but I kept it that way.
Mm.
Why? Because I would never, I didn't practice the video at all. I just knew that I wanted to say something and I flow from the heart. But I get used to
Yeah.
doing that because I used to speak in front of groups for many years and as dive instructor. and I gave presentations when
Yeah.
I was a headhunter. So I'm very comfortable naturally from a young age presenting things in front of groups. I also used to do animation teams and campsites and stuff. So you're always in front of hundreds of people, but most people don't have that experience. So I know, don't worry, just say something. But sometimes I just make a mistake, but I leave
Mm.
it. And I just put
Yeah.
5 simple steps because I would never be able to do it again with that same fresh energy. Because this
Mm.
was sincere from the heart. I didn't practice. This is just really what I wanted to say. Like I'm talking to you now. I didn't practice what I just respond to what you say from a
Yeah.
sincere place. I just
Mm.
leave it. And
Mm.
that's for other people because what I teach is that you just have to go for it in a way and get over that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just have to be good enough. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I think that's a really great approach to have, and to be able to get to that place. And I think, like you said, coming from that sincere place and that natural place where you're being yourself, and you're openly having a conversation with someone, and you're being yourself. I'm back now, but
Imperfect. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. I know, yeah. Smoke's gonna start coming out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was saying before we broke up that you mentioned your own personal experiences and how that helped you in your confidence to talk to people and to be able to do what you do. And I think that's great, because like you can use your personal experiences, can't you, to transfer those skills and experiences into what you do now, into putting things on social media, into
Hmm.
talking to people.
Yes, exactly. And it actually, because you just keep doing it, it's like muscle memory. When you start doing sports, and even if you don't do that often now because the gyms are closed or whatever, if you get back to it, you see easily you pick it up again. And it's just continuously training in whatever you do and keep doing. Like you
Mm,
said, in the beginning, I only did audio. And now I'm comfortable doing video. I think I never really made Instagram story talking to people, like talking. Like I made stories of things I've seen when I was traveling, but I wouldn't like blog. I think that was 14 months ago that was the first time that I did it. And now I do it like I never did differently. And I don't
mm,
say it's the best stories in the world that I make, but it's really me. And when I look at it, I'm not annoyed. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Just tick, tick, tick,
yeah,
tick. I do it at once. I don't redo it unless it's like really something wrong.
yeah,
It's a big change. In the beginning, it was harder because I was just too fixated. But you just have to kind of get a little bit of help. Look at some people that do it really well, find good examples, and then just practice. And especially with Instagram stories, after 24 hours, they're offline anyway if they're
yeah.
not in a highlight. And if you really don't like it after 4 hours, if you can always delete it earlier, but it's the
Mm.
fun just to keep it there.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I think people like to see that process and that journey, don't they? Of sometimes looking at where someone started out and where they kind of are now, and you kind of see the content change
Mm.
and how they kind of grown. And you see that
Yeah,
in people on Instagram, like some of these big successful people, yeah. And you look at their early content, you look at what they're doing now, and you're like, gosh, that's completely
yeah.
different. It's all kind of part of that process. And I think when you hear stories like like you're like your story,
Hmm.
it gives people confidence that they can create content, that they can do something, and that
Hmm.
everyone kind of goes through that process, most people.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also naturally, like for instance, I'm a really bad writer and I write my captions in English and Dutch. But
Mm,
it costs me so much energy to write, and I'm not the best writer. But now I'm gonna launch a video training. So I actually found somebody that is gonna help me with the content and the topics to have more original things because for me it's training. For me, it's so easy to do a podcast with you and talk. But to write down a new caption in two
mm,
languages, Dutch and English, why right? It's and then find the hashtags. It's exhausting for me. So it's always,
Yeah.
you also don't need to do everything perfect. Sometimes if you do it yourself in the beginning, I'm just alone, I had no budget. Now I have the budget to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also nice when you're really busy or you want to get something across better than you can do. Just ask somebody to help you or pay somebody to help you
Mm,
that's better at that, because you
mm,
save yourself the time. Because every hour that I spend on being overwhelmed by content and not being able to do the stuff that I do best, to
mm,
train and coach people or to create something new, it's also a way. And so you're going to see some new content of me because I had awesome help from a lady that I met in a business course that I was taking and
mm,
she was taking as well, um, to actually engage people more. So she's saying what I would say, but she just writes it way better.
mm.
You know,
Yeah.
she helps me with that. But I do the content, I will talk in the story, I'll make the photo, no problem, because that's what I'm naturally better at. And some people are really good in writing and they're a bit shy about making the videos. But then still, if you just tell them what you're also telling in your post and you just explain that, or you just take a photo in the beginning and not a video, it's also a start. It doesn't have to be that
Yeah.
pro. Instagram is not meant to for everything to look like a professional movie or social
Yeah.
media. It doesn't have to look like that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's just a little 1%, little, do a picture with a caption or something, do a small snippet. It doesn't have to be like a 4-minute video or 8 or 9 minute video straight away.
Mm.
Just those
No,
little videos.
just something small. Start really small, but start. A lot of small steps actually get you
Mm,
a fantastic big move. If you would take a small step, like 1% to 1% every day, do something like you say, you
yeah.
will get there. If you have to walk, like the pilgrims would walk a really long way, and they just take a couple of steps every day, they'll get there. Maybe not as
Mm,
fast, but maybe a lot more fit and happy
yeah.
than when they would push and walk so far every day.
Yeah.
It's an art that it's
Yeah.
okay that to just do, also enjoy the way.
Yeah. That's it, definitely. And I think, what's come to mind now is like, that kind of accountability, isn't it? Like in what you're saying about the content that you make, you're holding yourself accountable for what you're doing, and you're saying you're being honest with yourself and saying, you know, I'm not good at X, Y, Z. I'm going to get someone else to do it. Some people say, oh yeah, it's fine, and people can be sometimes, this is the way it is, and they're not accountable, and they're not willing to accept any
Hmm.
kind of areas that they may need to improve on, if that makes sense. They're not willing
Yeah,
to. So I think there's a lot of clashes in people, isn't there, sometimes? And then
yeah.
it's good
Or
that
they
you can do that.
exactly, they feel they don't are not allowed to ask help. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Why not
Yeah.
ask for help? We're with so many people. If we just ask each other for help, and
Mm.
I actually help somebody as well by hiring them and letting them do an awesome job. So,
Yeah.
and it will help me help people more. So in the end, if everybody start doing a bit more what they are good at and at least do what they feel they should
Mm.
do, although we are not that good at it or we're just starting, like we started life coaching, um, every day
Yeah.
you show up, you're accountable, you show up every day, you do it, you do your post, you make your training, you do your podcast, whatever you do, every day you come back. And then
Mm.
sometimes you say, now you have a day off. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, I actually was planning to work and I was just so tired, overwhelmed. I had enough. I woke up and I'm like, oh, it happens. I was like, yeah, what are
Yeah.
you thinking? You work for 9 days, just take a day off. What you're gonna do
Yeah.
today is gonna take you 4 hours, and today, if you're well rested, you will do it in two.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So I buffer areas in my calendar to be able to do that. So you don't get like you're not choking
Mm.
yourself.
Yeah.
So that's
Definitely. Definitely. And I think
that's it.
it's good that. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. I don't know what I was going to say anymore.
No, I think I was saying it's good that you're mindful of that and you recognize that, because I
Mm,
think sometimes, when you don't, you can get burnt out. And I think, I can relate to that as well. Like especially if you have that day off or you have that time to recharge and do something else, it gives you that time to recharge and be better the week ahead, or better those couple of days ahead, if that makes sense. You kind of need that place to kind of touch base and chill out a little bit and then come back and then do what you
mm.
got to do.
Yeah, especially if you're doing creative things or working with people or really help. I get the best ideas when I relax. And it's so different than when I worked in corporate life and I had to be in the office 8, 9 hours and I have to make my calls, because you can't always flow, especially not if you're supposed to be doing something. You're always going to be shifting papers for 2 hours because you'd have to do something, especially the way I work. I get really overwhelmed and so much info coming in, computer, phone, noises. I didn't know I was a high sensitive person back then. So now I know, okay, I'm full, take a break, come back later, and then do it super fast because that's how my brain works. So everything comes back to giving yourself a break, show up every day, but especially knowing yourself in whatever you do. Whatever
Mm,
you're trying to put out in the world, that's your gift, but find your own way to do it and know yourself. And if you start really knowing what you're good at, what you're not good at, how you work, how you feel, what you're telling yourself, good or bad, because we tell ourselves really, really ugly things most of the times, but we're not aware, and it makes us feel miserable. That makes life a lot better when you get through that. And then you don't care anymore if you do something silly or stupid, or the video doesn't look good, or, these kind of things. Then doesn't matter so much.
yeah. No, I really, really agree with what you said. And I think it's really it's definitely key, isn't it? I think, you kind of over time, by getting to know yourself more and going, being easy on yourself, you kind of are more okay with, if you mess up or make mistakes, and it's kind of part of that process. And, like being aware and mindful, especially, something I was thinking about last night. I was checking emails before I went to bed and I was like, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this. But, kind of recognizing, like if you're quite, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah,
quite
like,
sensitive,
what am I doing? Don't
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
smacking yourself.
Start smacking yourself,
Yeah.
like, stop it, put the phone away. Yeah. I
and
can
and like
relate.
and recognizing, like you said, if you are sensitive or if you kind of need to take a few minutes, because I think like there's a lot going on, social media, messages, you might have things to do in your life, in your day. There's so much happening, isn't there? So you kind of need to kind of filter things out sometimes.
Yeah. Filtering, prioritizing, and making some rules for yourself that you stick to, like not checking your phone just before bed because it's addictive and it's not helping you, because you're going to wake yourself up again and going to think about things you can't do anything about because you are actually going to sleep. So what can you do when you're going to sleep?
Yeah,
And still you
yeah,
have the urge to check it because you kind of get in the habit. So yeah, definitely.
yeah. It's definitely key. And and I was just thinking as well, like your kind of course and what you're doing, and kind of like what you're up to with your course, and where people can find it. What's it about?
Yeah, let me tell you something about that. So just start hyping it today. I've been
Yeah,
working
yeah.
on it quietly for the last two months.
Wow.
And yeah, it really came across in the last weeks. It's called Calling on Your Bullshit. And I'm actually giving people 5 simple steps to get them out of their bullshit problems, where they're stuck at, towards they really want to be. So that can actually be for people that are too perfectionist, have really bad self-talk. Anyway, it's really helping you. It's transforming you from being where you are now, and actually you're not happy with that, but in a
Mm,
way, you just don't seem to get where you want to go. You have
yeah.
goals and you start, and every time in a few weeks or a few days, you find yourself back where you don't want to be again, and you keep trying, but you're staying in that loop you don't get out. And I have had so much experience with that by changing a lot of things in my life. For instance, overcoming a food addiction, obesity, losing weight. I tried it 1 million times, but it's really changing your habits. But before you can change your habits, you first need to know what you're doing. And that can also be for anything that you want to achieve, want to do, or if you don't even know what it is yet, I'm also helping you with that. So the 5 steps are: first, being honest with yourself. What do you tell yourself? How do you talk to yourself? I'm having people keeping diaries, checking in with themselves and seeing, hey, what's behind that behavior? And how did I find this out? Because I was training people last year in small groups with Start Before You're Ready. And I had people discovering the most interesting things. They said, wow, nobody ever let me just journal my own thoughts and remarkable things and the things I'm doing. And I found that actually the most useful thing. It's a free thing, but it really works. So I'm forcing people, they have to take the steps and have to do that. So first, find out what's going on. Some people just switch tasks every 2 seconds and get nothing done. And other people actually have low self-esteem or tell themselves that they're not good enough or whatever. So we're going to look at that. I do everything with short videos, and I changed my, it's a light way, it's a fun way. It doesn't take you a lot of time to consume the content. It's about 30 minutes content, but then I give you exercises to do. So you can either finish it in 2 weeks, or you can take the full year to do it because you have 1 year access. But after you know what you're telling yourself, then we go to the second step, and that's that your self-sabotage is over. So once you know what you're doing, you can do something about it, and that's what I'm going to help you with. And then we're going to go to the next step, what you really need. Because if you want to change something, you have a desire, right? You have motivation, you have a desire. But even although you have such a grand desire, for instance, to look fabulous this year on the beach, or to be really good in a sport, or to finally finish your thesis, or whatever it is, it can be just so hard to get there because you're missing something. And I'm going to give you the something that's missing that even on your bad days gets you through the day. Because like yesterday, for instance, in my life, everything looked shit, but I know just got to stop and go and relax. So that's a system, that's a plan that I implemented for myself, and I know it's working. If I won't do that, I would just, everything would get worse. And that's the same for whatever you're trying to do. You need a plan. So I'm going to help people make the plan. Then I'm going to go back to the 4th step with actually looking at the 2 sides you have. So that bad voice and that inner cheerleader, because I'm cheering with Birgit, the inner cheerleader actually tells you like, oh, Adam, you want to do video podcast? Yes, you want. And the other one saying, nah, Adam, don't do that. You're going to look ridiculous. Don't do that. Stay safe. Just audio. Just audio is fine. No, you want to do video because people like that. No, don't do that. Don't go. You know, this can go on for weeks. And once you understand what's going on, you actually have a choice. If you don't understand that it's happening, so I'm going to help the ones that take the training, I'm going to help them through that. And then in the final step, I'm going to have them make a contract with themselves. And I'm going to explain how to do that. And yeah, that actually is done. And this is such a simple methodology, but you need help and guidance. And I really help, I give people energy to do that and how to do that. And they can always get in touch with me, but they can really do this themselves. So it's actually for anybody. And it's the pre-launch opens Monday. So you can already buy the course for, really, it's no money, €11.99. And then the first 20 also get a bonus webinar in June where we're going to do it live. So live on a webinar, whatever they're stuck with, if they need help, we're going to do live troubleshooting, problem solving, and I'm going to get people back on rail. So that's the starting price. And then for May 3, the doors of the course are actually really opening. So the content becomes available, and then in the end, the price is going to go up to in a few steps to in May, it's going to be €20, 19.99. So that's the course price. So this is even for people that are low budget but want to do something. I just want to help people with this to really, get out of that pattern, out of that step, really transform and to have people really do something for themselves. So even people that can afford one-on-one coaching or other things are over or whatever you cover to transform their lives, you can do this. You can do this in 2 weeks and get it going if you don't have a lot of time, because some people are really really busy. This is also going to give you focus. You have a year. It's I make it bright. I have my pom-poms with me. I'm just going to be funny. I recorded this over here, and I just had a blast recording it. And I didn't do it perfect, so it gives people the comfort that they don't have to do things perfect. Just be real and do it. Just keep showing up. That's it. So that's the course, and I feel really excited. It's also a bit scary. It's the first time that I made something fully on video. Normally I do live on. So really wondering, but I am in love with what I made. And I'm sure it's going to help people, and it's just really a lot of fun to put it out there as a sort of a gift. So
that's
I'm
awesome.
excited. Yeah, I feel excited. So that's it.
Awesome. No, it's awesome. It sounds really amazing, and I think it's really nice that you've pieced this together yourself, and you're wanting to help people, and you're wanting them to shift out of their comfort zone and to to put whatever it is that they wanting to do, to take those initial shifts and make those initial steps.
Yeah.
And you've as well, like by you doing it, and showing up as you mentioned, and just taking action and doing it, that gives people the confidence anyway, seeing you do that. And you're like leading by example, because it's like, well,
I give them examples of how I used to feel, how I used to self-sabotage, and so many other people that I've trained and that I know, that So we all do it. There's no person that doesn't self-sabotage or escapism, all these things. We all do it. We have our ways. So and I really hope this is going to help people to take those steps and to finally, shine what they want to do. So, and where can they find it? You can already go to my website to go on the podcast newsletter, and then you get the first update when it's available. It's just on top of my homepage. My new website is www.birgityegülalp.com. So probably that's going to go in the show notes, because my label, my training is Cheering with Birgit, but my vision was, in 20 years, I'm not going to look like this cheerleader girl anymore, probably, time catches up with you. So let's make my website my real name. And then I just have to label the brand Cheering with Birgit. But and you can find me on Instagram at Cheering with Birgit, Facebook the same. So that if that's easier for you, go there and click through the posts. It's all going to lead to the same place.
No, I love everything that you're doing, and I think it's really nice, that you just care and you want to help other people, shift and grow. And I think we're all here for a reason, to help one another and to learn experiences and to share that, and to help other people, isn't it? And to provide value. And I think your website looks great, because I remember you sending me the link.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think you're doing a great job, and I'll definitely I'll share this today, so as I said before, and I will put all the links for what you mentioned, your course and your profile, in the bio. And
thank you. That's awesome.
You're welcome. And I definitely think it's so important, and I think, as you mentioned, the price and stuff, it's if people are willing to be accountable, then this is a great way to do it, and you've put so much into it. You told me it took quite a long time to make as well. And I think, people definitely need help in these areas. People
Yeah.
definitely need support in those areas, especially I think because people are working from home. Not everybody, but some, a lot of people work from home, and it's easy, as you said, to probably procrastinate or get into bad habits. So, for people to work on all this is great.
Yeah, so it will really, it's really, so I make it so simple, and it's for everybody. And look, if you don't even can spend 11.99 or 19.99 in the end, if you buy it later on yourself, well, then tell me, really, do you want to change or not? I don't think
Yeah.
is an easier way, and I do that on purpose because I want something to be available for everybody, but I'm not going to make it free, because I learned if people are not going to show up and feel accountable if they pay nothing.
Yeah.
So it has to cost something, so people feel obligated to show up. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I could just use it like my podcast is free, but that's passive. And this is something that people have to be active for. So this
Yeah.
is really also, and if people want to do more with me, they get a real feeling of who I am, then they can always find me. I tell in the course how to get in touch personally for whatever they need. You can also see that on my website. But for some people, that's not an option right now. And first they want to get a feel and get to action. And if this adds value to their lives, then I am happy with that.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's it.
It's going to make the world a better place if everybody would just feel a bit more happy and accomplished and less negative about themselves. That would really brighten up the world. That's what I really want it to be. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
No, you're welcome. I'm happy to, provide, this platform to talk about, the subjects we covered, and for you to share what you're doing, because, I really love what you're up to, and I think it's a great, way to put it out there, because I think it's, we've all got our own part to play, and as you mentioned, impacting other people, it's rewarding, and it's that kind of domino effect. Someone else does it, someone else starts to do it, and then it kind of, kind of grows from that.
Exactly. And that's what we want to have, right?
Yeah.
The domino effect is so important for the general well-being. And especially now, it's been a bit of a sad atmosphere for over a year now. We need some fun. Come on. We need something. So
we'll get the pom-poms and the traffic lights and start, dancing.
Exactly.
But
all right.
Yeah, but no, I'll put all the links in the bio, and
right.
It's been great talking to you, Birgit, and I wish you all the best with your course. And
same to you. Same to you. Good luck with everything you do, and thanks a lot.
No, you're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And you take care.
You too.
All the best.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Bye.